Okay. Well, we can open things up for open discussion if you guys want. Do you want to do that?
Sure, let's have a long open discussion. Gerald, when are you doing a presentation? Now's your last chance.
Okay.
I didn't
So
know
yeah,
it was my
we're in
last
open
chance,
discussion now, guys. So
or I definitely would have done one this time. I was not set up for it. I got notice
Well,
actually
you
this
can
morning.
just
so-
go ahead.
yeah, go for it, man. Just hook it up.
I
Mr.
I've
7
half of my
hours to
equipment
prep
here.
says so.
Mr. Witch, sorry.
Now or
Bernie.
never.
I was
Yeah, it's
saying,
gonna
Mark
have to
said,
be never,
Mark,
guys.
you
I'm
said it was
sorry.
7 hours for you to set up, and now you're just putting Gerald on the spot.
Totally.
Well, he doesn't have
that's
to
okay.
set anything up. He can just talk about it.
Yeah, if I had something set up to show you, I would, but I've been moving my stuff out to a different location because I'm getting ready to build something a little larger and I need more space in order to demonstrate it. So half of my gear is there, half of my gear is here, and that's basically where I'm at. But yeah, I work with electromagnetics on a quite a different scale, I would say. It's all geometrically formed. It works on different principles like the dichotron instability and the skin effect, and there's actually quite a few different things that come into play, and they've all been mentioned here in APEC. I was putting together a presentation, but I don't have quite the language that you guys do, so I have a language barrier, I guess you would say, when it comes to explaining that which I've come across. I've been working on it for a while, but I work with coils in a sense where I don't use theory and I don't use mathematics. I'm what's the word I'm looking for?
Experimentalist.
Definitely. I love to.
And that's what George Hathaway is.
An
So
experimentalist, yeah.
yeah. And
So
Hutchison too, but yeah. So
I've met John Hutchinson actually in New Westminster in British Columbia just before he moved. I lent him my truck in order to do the moving. So yeah, John Hutchinson's definitely a different individual, but that's a whole other story.
Right. And sorry, I just got to interject. Both John and Nancy Hutchinson, great APEC panelists, and now we're doing a series with them on the crystal battery builds. And I've done two streams so far on my channels with them, and we've got a third one coming up next Friday with John and Nancy Hutchinson, covering their crystal batteries as well as some of the John's EVO stuff. And I'm also supposed to be putting together one in the next couple of weeks with Bob Greenier and John Hutchinson again, and talking about how Bob's been working with others who have been verifying the Hutchinson effect through experimentations of their own, producing EVOs.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that I've been doing. I've been getting set up for making, so far there's 13 kits made that are going to be going out for people to verify my work. Because you guys have seen a video in the past and a lot of people questioned it. And I'm not going to elaborate too much on it other than when I'm ready to do a demonstration, which should be very shortly. I was kind of hoping to do it in this next coming month, but with APEC gone, Bernie's channel, whatever, it'll get out. But the kits that I'm making, I believe I need about 25 of them for the people that are interested in recreating these coils and then recreating the experiment that I'm referencing to. And I know a lot of people on APEC here know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to get into it in detail, but let's just say, yeah, I've come across something that is truly amazing. It has to be given to the world, and I want to do it openly and freely, but I've been doing it slowly because there's different aspects that these coils in geometrical form do. There's the food growth aspect of it. There's possible healing aspects, or should I say, there's possible fields that are created that allow the human body to access the natural healing ability. So I'll put it that way. Can it heal things? I won't say that because it's undefinitive at this point, but these coils definitely do very interesting things. And I believe it's because they're geometrically based and bifilar. Bifilar allows these systems that I've been working with, as far as my understanding goes, to be almost superconducting. Again, that's something that has to be confirmed by others, because I'm just a voice in the dark, right? But yeah, it creates a spin. I've created a null zone in the center of certain different coils. My whole goal when I began all this was to create an energy system without moving parts. And then it kind of evolved to the point of I was seeing different fields and different things happen that were definitely a phenomena that I had never heard of before, and had to get into alternative propulsion and Feynman's work, Tesla's. I worked a lot with John Bendini's stuff, and it brought me to the point where I am now. And my understanding when it comes to gravity, it's definitely geometrically based and bifilar, because you can control the flow of energy and capture that very flow as current itself, and then revamp it back into the system. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I don't have, like I said, I wish I had been ready for this. Kind of put me on the spot, guys. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell. Basically, I've been working with coils for about 11 years, roughly, give or take. And like I said previous, I've made about 150. Not have all worked. I've made some very strange coils. In fact, this one here, I don't know if you guys can see that. That's three-dimensional. I work with that one on a regular basis, and this one has had some very anomalous fields created because of it, depending on how I wire it, bifilarly in series, or my primary, my secondary separately with a piezoelectric on the other end. There's different aspects that come out in these coils when you wire them and pulse them in different ways. I could give you an example of my very first coil. Hopefully I'm not boring too many of you here, but I went from something like this, which was an absolute disaster, to something like this, which is a Starship coil. I've made Bendini coils in the past. In fact, I believe I have one right here. And then there's these coils, which are identical. They do very interesting things, which I will be putting in a video in the next few days. I don't know if anyone's been keeping up on my channel, but I've been showing how certain configurations of coils can create spin and magnets that are floating on the water. So take away the resistance, and it shows you a very good example of how you can control the spin of magnetics in that sense. So that's basically all I have for you. I apologize, it's not more. I'm almost ready to do a big presentation, and that's why I got this very specific device here, so that I can complete the work that I've been trying to show for the last 6 months. And hopefully in the next couple, or I would have to say in the next couple weeks, I'll be ready to show something definitively. And as soon as I do, I will be getting all those different kits out to individuals so they can wind the coil the way that I've wound it. They can do their own tests. I'll give them all the schematics on every circuit that I've ever used, a breakdown of the different experiments that I've done and my conclusions in those experiments. And then I will allow everybody to come up to their own conclusion, of course. And let me know once you get the kits and figure out either I'm deluding myself, which I know I'm not, or we have something real here. And if we do, it should be distributed immediately. Let's get it to everybody. Free, get it out there. That's just where I'm at. So thank you for the time. I really do appreciate that, for giving me a few moments to speak on what it is that I'm working on. Was there any questions or?
Oh, no, well, I would just mention, so it's open discussion. So, it's guys, just unmute yourselves. But yeah, no, Gerald, I appreciate your coming and talking about your work. Your coil has been, people have been telling me about it, and then we had a back and forth. I was like, come on, So,
yeah,
so
I didn't have a laptop at the time, and the computer that I did have got hacked. And the time that I was trying to set up to be on APEC, my channel got hacked. In fact, I don't even have access to it anymore. I've been locked out of it. So I had to start a new one. And I bought a laptop to get all prepared. So now I'm finally there. I'll do proper presentations in the future.
So I just posted Gerald's new channel in the chat, the Zoom chat, and Tim, in a couple months' time, come springtime, when you're all caught up in work and Gerald's got his presentation fully together, I'll make sure to send them over to you for Tim Ventura's interviews, and I'll just about to post your YouTube channel in the Zoom as well for everybody, to make sure that if you love the classic APEC of Tim Ventura, to go over and subscribe to the Tim Ventura channel.
I'd love to apply for an interview with you, Tim, in the future. After this big demonstration I'm going to do.
Well, and there's a lot going on this year. And again, this is why I need to put up, I'll put up links. I'll do a blog post, probably the final blog post for everybody. We'll have links to all of this, because there are so many different resources online, like I know that you have a channel where you've been doing stuff. I think that probably the biggest central channel that I know of is probably Jeremy Reese. I really think so. I mean, and it has been, right? And that's, I have to applaud his work for like 15 years. And, the thing that gets me about it was if you guys think back, he really came out of nowhere. I remember, was it like 2007 or 2008? And it was just like, I remember those first few videos that he did, it was just like, who is this guy? And at the time, the thing that got me was a lot of those he was covering really complex topics that I've been studying and I've been talking to scientists too. And it was like, he's able to synthesize it and boil it down. And he would take something that somebody would explain to me for like an hour, and it would be like this 5-minute video. And I'd be like, holy crap, how did he do that? And it was just one after the other, after the other, after the other. And so it's no surprise. I mean, he's got like, what, 100,000, 110, 120,000 subscribers on YouTube. That doesn't surprise me in the slightest, and he's still doing it. I mean, and when you think about the amount of work that he's done, it's just incredible. So that's the one that I keep coming back to.
Yeah,
and then the other thing that I would mention to everybody, this is well, I guess it's open discussion. This is kind of off topic, but when Elon Musk bought Twitter, right? And I use LinkedIn a lot. I really like LinkedIn for business networking. And I saw these stories about Twitter is going to die, this, that, and the other thing. And I started to basically resurrect my Twitter account. And I thought my rationale was Jeff Bezos bought the Washington Post. And I thought, well, why would Elon Musk buy Twitter? It's because that's where the news people go, right? And so if you want to interact with news people, that's where you need to be. And so I started to get back into it. And Twitter it's smaller in some ways, but I'm having pretty good success with it now. And one of the things that I like with it is, honestly, going back and using it after years and years on Facebook and even LinkedIn, Twitter is a lot cleaner. That's just me. I know I shouldn't speak ill of Facebook, but I'm getting burned out on it. It's like every time you go to a page, there's 6,000 different ads and plugins and this, that, and the other thing. So yeah. And then
for some reason, Twitter kind of finds the subject you're interested in, so you you have a push notification of all the stuff you're really interested in without even registering, you know, so it's kind of
Yeah.
amusing.
And the other big one, and people have been telling me this, and if you guys are promoting your own stuff, just keep this in mind. The other big one is Instagram. And I've had some success with that, but Instagram is tricky because they don't let you put links in, right? So you can put up photos, you can put up videos, you can point people to it and build followers and all that. But then if you want to link back to real meat and potatoes, you can put the link in there, but people have to kind of copy and paste it, which is frustrating. So.
Matthew, you're back.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just trying to be careful with my mic and camera because I just got into town to see my family. So it's a little bit noisy, so I'm just trying to keep it low.
You know, I did hear about with Rife. I heard, this is something I heard years ago, and I heard it explained well. It was a gentleman named Mark Hugo. If you look up Mark Hugo Rife microscope, I think I filmed this and put it online. The major complaint about this was what he told me. He said the major complaint about Rife's work was Rife said, you can target cells with different frequencies. You can target organelles in cells with different frequencies. And the major complaint was, they said, well, how could he know that? Because he didn't have a microscope in his time. Well, as you know, there was the Rife microscope, and there was this debate about, well, no, it couldn't possibly work. And Mark Hugo actually looked at the microscope. He's a nuclear engineer, and it had a jelly in it. And I don't remember his exact explanation, but he said that this gelatin that went in the microscope was using some kind of an interferometry effect. And so he said that mainstream science probably missed this, but he said the Rife microscope did work. It worked as advertised. And then the other thing that he had told me, if I remember correctly, was he'd said, this was another thing, was that they didn't have a sensitivity booster on it. He said, this is a little known fact. The human eye, if you go completely dark adapted, you can actually see a single photon. You can't see it well, but your eye can detect a single photon. And if I remember correctly, one of the things he was saying was that Royal Rife would dark adapt for like an hour before he would use the microscope, and then he could see what was going on. So I would look at that as validation. That would be, you know, and that was how he could tell what the different frequencies were doing.
Yeah, so with the journals and everything I have, I do recall him talking about dark adapting for an hour or so before he would look. And the gelatin that you're speaking about, what he would do is he had two crystal quartz lenses that would kind of go together, and now they have them flipped over. Wherever I've heard this microscope is that, but he had them and they were a concave design that went together, and he would use a light and use a prismatic effect where he would shine a light through. And then when he'd look through the microscope, whatever he was targeting, he could see the light refraction off of that. And that's how he could tell the frequency of it. Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, that would, and yeah, you know, again, without jumping into the medical part of it, I know they're coming back to this stuff, right? It's just, you know, it's that giant, you know, and they're doing this in mainstream physics too. I mean, they had that in quantum mechanics. You know, they keep going back and forth about stuff in quantum mechanics, and they just came back to you know, the Bell theorem from the 60s. So
yeah, it seems like a lot of this technology is really, you know, peeking its head up again, kind of like electroculture with farming and things. A lot of this stuff is coming back around to where people are being more interested in it. And like all of this stuff, you know, a lot more people are getting in tune with like frequencies and just resonant frequencies all in general. I mean, just like what we're talking about with propulsion, because the Earth has a magnetic field, it resonates at a certain frequency, and everything is energy. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. Everything has its own specific frequency.
You know, it's interesting too, and this is just something that I've noticed. But like I don't actively. This is just me, my bent. I don't believe in suppression per se, but I do believe that things get lost. And one of the things that I saw, this was back in the 90s, and it was ancient then. This was a book from the 50s. A bunch of scientists had gone through Tesla's papers, and they found electrical conductivity for the Earth. And he was talking about there's that 8 Hertz cycle, right? And he had documented that, and they documented it later. They took his notes, they typed it up, and they were talking about lightning strikes, how you could time lightning strikes. And if you did the math, the lightning strikes proved this 8 Hertz cycle, or it's not exact, but whatever it was. And the thing that got me about it was, I remember I took this book to a professor and showed it to them, and they're like, I've never seen this before, you know? And it's not that it was suppressed, it just kind of got overlooked, right? It was like nobody knew what to do with it, and so it went on a shelf and they forgot about it. And then meanwhile, it was just sitting there the whole time, you know? So
Yeah, and that's what's really interesting is that with all of this stuff coming up, I really enjoy it because it's diving into history, and you get to find out a little bit about history that we don't know or we were never taught, and you get to find out about these sciences. And this was a springboard effect for me to be able to jump off of this. And also, I've studied all this growing up since I was 5, so physics and everything. Like, I'm not, classically trained as an engineer of any sort. But, growing up hands-on, it's helped out with my creativity to where it's not putting me in a box, thinking outside the box, but stay inside this one. So all of these sciences, like, I'm super open to it. The electroculture, I'm excited to see what happens with it. And the same with propulsion, because, if we look back in history that we don't even know about, all the signage and everything, and talking about who came here to Earth, who built the pyramids, maybe that's coming back around too. That's exciting to me as well, just to see it come about.
yeah, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, And this UAP thing that's happening, that I think that's really interesting also. I think that's going to make us examine ourselves a lot more.
Yeah, so I mean, even with that, I was speaking to somebody just not too long ago. What happened to the generation of the dinosaurs? What happened to the generation of the saber-tooth? What happened to the generation of the Cro-Magnon? And so with all this cycling back around,
the Younger Dryas event, as Graham Hancock has now been proving with Randall Carlson, and you get called racist for just looking at there being a advanced civilization around the time Plato claimed Atlantis existed, apparently. But that's a discussion for another day. We will keep it on propulsion. Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, there's a lot of history. There's a lot of history, and there are a lot of new things happening too. I mean, it's not as exciting as this stuff, but one of the things I've been covering in my interviews is drones. There's a lot going on in drones right now. That's really interesting with the Ukraine war. I don't know if you guys are following that, but I mean, basically the Russians have recreated, well, the Iranians are making it for them, but they've recreated the buzz bomb. That's essentially what these, if you guys read about those Russian drones in the news, and actually, if you look it up, I saw it looks like a magazine. It's like a magazine for cartridges. There was this big ladder, and it was stacked with drones. One of the drones takes off the bottom, goes to destroy its target, and then all the others ratchet down, and they all come down, and the one at the bottom fires just like a magazine for a gun.
Yeah,
and
they have a the problem is going to be a problem because they're gonna have clouds of drones that are going to attack like a specific target. So you need a way to wipe them all off, very, very instantly, because it's a cloud, you can't just, shooting one is not enough. You need to shoot 100 downs at the same time. So there's going to be a problem.
Yeah, I think it's going to become, from what I've seen, in terms of military drones, it's one of those things that it's like the public is starting to become aware of it. It hasn't hit them yet. When it hits them, people are going to freak out because you know,
Yeah.
right now it's still pretty rudimentary too, right? Like but I mean, the Russians have done 330 drone strikes against Ukraine, and Ukrainians, they've got their own drones, and they're doing the same thing with the Russians. And then the other part is all of these other countries are taking note, right? So like China just announced they're going to start making these weaponized drones. And then if they do it, then we got to do it to keep up. And so now all of a sudden, you know, everybody's doing these things.
But one thing I don't understand is I know we have the technology, but why can't we fry Putin using a laser from a satellite, something like that? I know we have the technology, so we could just end it right now, you know. But
You mentioned,
that's my thought.
did you mention Poutine? You did mention Poutine. That's your Canadian giveaway.
Yeah, Putin.
Half of your audience here is like, what's he talking about? Poutine at Tim Hortons.
Yeah, exactly. Putin is I forgot the name. There's a place in Montreal. It's very famous for that. I forgot the name.
I like, I've had real poutine once. Tim Hortons stuff is kind of, it's like hot lunch poutine, but
Yeah, it's a emergency place to go if you really need one.
In case anyone's wondering what a poutine is, if that's what you want to call it, or a poutine, it's French fries with cheese curds on top and a ton of gravy so that the cheese curds melt. It's all
And you can-
Great
cholesterol.
Canadian thing, eh? It's not no Russian Putin. It's a great
It's
Canadian.
not a way
yeah,
Russian-
it's like what would you think of it as? I would think of it as like Canadian chili cheese fries, kind of.
comfort
That's
food.
Amazing analogy right there.
Now,
Yeah,
if you're
yeah.
feeling crazy, I tried this once. It's good. The timing has to be perfect. French fries and ice cream. I know. That's all I'm going to say. You dip your French fry in ice cream. If the French fry is if it's not hot, it's disgusting. But if it's just right, it's amazing. So
Nice.
yeah. If you're feeling courageous, that takes some courage.
Geosynchronous orbitals, like satellite orbitals, like those are geosynchronized with the orbit of Earth. So they're always beaming in one spot on different levels of orbital. So really, you always have an eye in the sky, you know, just depends on the different bandwidth of, you know, where they can get locked, you know, in two different states, and then it creates an orbital. So, you know, you guys were talking about viewing this. Well, yeah, I mean, it already exists, you know.
Yeah.
Well,
And they'll exist more too. You know, one of the things, this is again, this is kind of like drones. It's one of those things. It's not a breakthrough per se, but when I think of satellites, I'm thinking of the old days, right? Where you think of like, okay, a satellite over here, and it's doing like, you know, TV broadcasts. There's one over there, and it's relaying communications. But if you look online, and it's easy to find this on Google, you can find maps that show all of the satellites, and there are hundreds, if not thousands. How many? Let me look this up. And in fact,
it depends on how high the ones that, like, you know, supersede the ones on the lower. So the higher ones are fewer because they can connect, like 3 of them can connect, you know, everybody, encapsulate everybody. Just, you know, if you do it like, I mean, you know, a relay.
Okay, so Lulu, there are 8,261 satellites, over 8,000 satellites in orbit. Of those, because they don't last forever, it says 4,852 are active. So not all of them are active, right? You've got about 5,000 active satellites, and then you add in all of the junk, and believe it or not, this is the part where it's like one of those, it's kind of mind blowing. In its own strange way, the Earth is starting to develop a ring, except that in our case, it's a ring of crap floating in space, basically. But
you know, like the asteroid belt is also a ring of broken stuff. You know, like I don't know what, but you know.
Yeah, it's strange. It's strange to think. It's strange to think. You know, And Starlink is going to make that, I mean, Starlink will make that much worse, because Starlink is deploying tons and tons and tons of little mini satellites. So.
I don't know how many brain neurons there are there, but they're probably going to try to detect every little possible thought you could think by every measure, you know. I mean, that's the future of why would you have that much? You know, it's a frequency. We're the void, and everything else is man-made, you know, other than like trees and grass, but like a world. So it measures the reflection of everything around us and writes an algorithm, complete, a digital one, of a code of our existence from every little thing that is around us, from the chair we're sitting on, the headsets that we're wearing, the, you know, because like from the microphone to this, that's a frequency. And then from there to the board, and that's another frequency.
I wouldn't worry. I wouldn't worry about being spied on by satellites, though, to be honest. You know what? If you, I mean, the number one thing for surveillance is bank records. That's what they use. It's bank records.
No, it's the evolution of how could we transmit a signal. It's not a local idea to Earth. It's the idea of how could you transmit a signal to something far beyond. You know, that's, I mean, that would be the hope of such technology. It's not to use it against each other, but to see how we could all advance it further, you know, further than our internal, like, whatever, you know, disagreements. But as a science, that's what I believe we're striving for, you know, like, would our species survive elsewhere? I always ask that question, because, I mean, will it? Let's just say nothing happens to here, but will our numbers grow to the point where we actually need a place? You know, and this is, you know, on a futuristic kind of idea. It's not because of this stuff. No, like, you want the other place, you know? Yeah. Yeah, I'm sad to see this go, because it was like my tribe, you know, like I connected well. I understood.
And it's a community that's still here. It's a community that's still here. The entire community is still here. It's spread out and it's diverse. But, you know, again, with this conference, I think that the way that it was structured and the way everything was put together and all that, I think it's just kind of reached its time. And you know, and like Mark had said, it's kind of like Seinfeld. You know, it's better to go out when you're there instead of watching it kind of go downhill over time and saying, "Oh, I remember the good days," you know. So,
like Kurt Cobain was saying that it's better to die on your hide than you know, fade away or something like that. But are you planning to have like at least a conference once a year or every 6 months? Or?
yeah, I mean, potentially, that's, you know, that's something that we could look at is trying to come back together. You know, I mean, a lot of it depends on, you know, like the pace of the research and how things progress and all of that. But you know, I think one of the challenges is that, you know, especially with presenters, right? I think everybody is a little tired, you know. And yeah, and most of our presenters who have, you know, like I'm thinking of folks like Gary Stevenson would be one, you know, where he did, I think, 3 or 4 presentations, you know, and there was Mike Gamble did, I mean, he spent most of last year like just doing presentations, you know, and so folks are just tired. And, you know, and then the other part is we've gone over a lot of the same material so many different times that it's just kind of becoming repetitive, right? So, I mean, there were lots and lots and lots of different reasons, you know, and so I think it helps to just focus for a while, you know, and then we can kind of look at things in the future and say, okay, where is this community at, you know? So part of it's that, and then the other thing is, you know, it really feels, I'm thinking of Bernie's back room there. You know, it's had kind of a Woodstock vibe to it, right? And Woodstock had a beginning and an end, you know, and it's
many reunion events, which APEC Year 3 reunion conference if you don't make it happen, Tim, I'm going to be sending Andreas Zertis out in California to find
Yeah,
you.
well, because
You'll
think
make
about
it
it,
happen.
you know, I mean, if Woodstock was still going on today, people would be like, what happened to that? But you know, but it was one of those things where it was like it was this really special thing. And with APEC, the thing that got me about it was it was one of those things that really only could have happened during the pandemic, you know. It really was. And you know, but I think now we were able to say, look, this works, this model works. And so now people are able to do that for different things. And I see little things happening like that all the time. Like Bernie does. Bernie, you do group calls with what, 5-10 people on them sometimes, right?
Absolutely. And Tim, maybe an idea going forward would be to make APEC a once a year conference, but actually a meetup conference as well, and make it a whole weekend event somewhere going forward. Who knows? But that's a potential as well that you could evolve it into.
Yeah, and we talked about that. I just don't want to commit to anything right now, you know.
Yeah, it would be great to have a
You're
it's like
fine.
my yeah, it's like my training center. They have fighting events, but at different schools, you know, they rotate the location, so it's never the same location. So that would give a chance to everybody all over the continent.
Yeah, and then in the meantime, everyone has stuff they're working on. Phil, you have finite theory, right? And do you have experiments based on that you're working on, or are you just continuing to refine your theoretical model?
No, I'm done with the theory, and I have the design. I hired somebody to make the design using a software. I forgot the name. Something works, or I forgot the name. It's a popular software. I made the design. I hired somebody last year. I have the design, but now I'm waiting. I ordered the Gal instant from China. I paid $4,000 for it, but it's pretty slow. You know, I did a wire transfer. Everything is slow right now. I'll have to 3D print the apparatus. There's a good web 3D printing service in Montreal that prints things in plastic or steel, metal, everything you need. So it's great. You just submit your design, and it prints it and mails it to you. So it's pretty cool. I'm sure there's some service like that in Seattle or New Jersey and all that. So I'm gonna test the experiment. I'm gonna hire a physicist. I know my own boss is a physicist, so I'll hire him to double check you know, the resistance and all the electric circuits and all that. And then I'll perform the experiment. But I'm not scared at all, because I already did the a lower scale down version of it last year. I remember. So I had positive results. I'm just scaling it up right now. I also made the calculations for the gravitomagnetic permeability. It took me some time to figure it out. It's very simple, but I can't share it, unfortunately. But it gives the amplitude of the force you'll get by spinning the liquid metal using the vortex. So yeah, by the way, I figured out that the gravitational redshift, there's a lot of information you can get out of this, a lot of it, but I can't share it. Otherwise I'll kill my own company. But there's a lot of information out of the gravitational redshift you can get. It's very interesting. So yeah, that's where I am. I'm also in touch with like important people in the military. So and also I'm back on my C++ superset software to hopefully I'll be able to break the ice. Get hopefully sell it at some point, but we'll see. It's another cool software I'm pretty proud of also. And yeah, that's about it on my end.
Well, that's a lot. That's a lot. And, you know, give that time, we'll all be able to kind of, you know, figure out where things are going. So yeah, everyone here has projects that they're working on. Everyone here has things that they're pushing forward, right? And, you know, and for most folks, this is a long-term development process too. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's part of creative development, right? So
yeah.
yeah.
By the way, do you do web design or something like that? I see your website is pretty amazing. Did you do the design yourself?
Yeah, I did.
That's cool. Maybe I can hire you to create a website for another company. We're gonna start on it's a real estate company.
Well, no, I appreciate it, but yeah, that's what I would strongly recommend for website stuff is you don't have to find a local designer, but find someone who does that for a living, who has that kind of structured. So because it's a lot of work.
Yeah, we have one for we're gonna redo the Fornox website in WebGL, and we have one pretty good, amazing one in Toronto, and he's doing an awesome job, and he's very patient, and he's very good. If you need WebGL at some point, just let me know. Yeah, so you guys are lucky, man. American people are so lucky. I very envy you, all the grants that you have for deep tech projects. It's amazing. I wish I was there. I wish I was living there, but
You know, but I would say in Canada though, I mean, it doesn't seem like that there's much that's missing. You know what I mean? I mean, it seems like on the internet, the biggest challenge is the language barrier. As long as you're fluent in English, it doesn't seem like much is missing.
yeah, but they don't give grants like for deep tech, and they don't risk,
Oh.
you know, they don't invest in risky stuff. That's basically what it comes down to. So that's why I'm saying it's amazing. You guys should take advantage of it and be proud of what you have, because even in Europe they don't have that. So you guys are lucky for that part.
I love the States, don't get me wrong, but one big thing that I don't like about the States when it comes to inventing is that if it has military application, there's a law in place where the government can literally come in and take your invention and it's gone. They're using it for their uses and you get basically shut down. And there's nothing that you can say about it. There's no law like that standing in Canada as far as I'm aware. So that's the only downfall I gotta say. But other than that, you're right. Their grants are amazing.
Yeah,
that is actually true, guys. I'm just cutting in. I'm Alex from England, and I work with a friend called Tom Burgess in the States, and he was a relative. His family was a relative of Tesla, and he's had a lot of problems with his technology. He works on very advanced graphene technology, and literally everyone has been throwing their money at him to try and control his patent activity. So just be wary when you guys start floating or going public that they are very clever what they do. And Jeremy's lecture, a lot of that was, he may not have understood, and nor can I pretend that I understood a lot of the physics, but what he was saying about the way they hoard up and collect and do all these patents, these guys have been doing it for 100 years. So just try and think ahead and logically and calmly and be patient and try not to fight too much. Just think logically, because what my friend Tom Burgess is doing, he's literally selling something called Quantum Shine. I'm not pushing it, but it's just a little car wash. His stuff is graphene. It just some of his stuff, he can make diamonds. He just manufactures diamonds the size of little cherries or grapefruits.
Okay.
For him, he's not interested in money. And I just want to say, guys, this is my first APEC conference ever. Tim invited me by Twitter, and you guys are absolutely amazing. I'm a schizophrenic sort of whatever, and I love suppressed technology and alternative technology, and I collect and I hoard information for 20 years, and I try and reverse engineer a lot of the technology, but my lifestyle inhibits me. But I just want to say to all of you guys, I think you're amazing, and I'm very much a conference person, but normally I do mainstream science and spirituality, and this is my first alternative live conference on Zoom, and I'm so grateful that it's the last, that I've witnessed the last APEC. I know a lot of you are obviously very sad, but I just want to say to all of you, I think you all are amazing people. And I wish I could manifest what you guys are doing in person. I do weird stuff like psychic stuff, and I've got problems and military and all that. But I'm used to that, it's not a problem. But I just want to send you all my love and wish you all the best. I just wanted to give you guys a big hug from England. Lots of love,
Yeah,
guys.
thanks.
That's
And by the way, I heard it's not a good idea to patent because it gives the government more control over your technology. So we're just gonna keep it like a trade secret.
Yeah, I'm open sourcing all my stuff because you know what, I've had devices in the past that I've gotten into business with somebody and they basically took it and ran with it. And at this point, it's, you know, at my age, I've had an awesome life, and it's not about the money for me. So I'm just open sourcing everything. I completely understand people that are building businesses upon their tech. All the power to you. I think that's awesome. It's just I'm doing it a little differently. That's all. But all the power to you, my friend.
Yeah, salute, brother. So yeah, but when I'm talking about a lot more, when I was talking about the gravitational redshift, it's a lot more than anti-gravity you can get out of it. It's like it makes, I'm not sure if you saw my presentation. Maybe I can post it on Zoom, but the Zoom chat, but everything I was talking about, like the tractor beams and all that, it's really a reality. It's very easy to do also, and I just can't say how, but I'm just saying there's a lot of things there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah, there's even force field potential as well.
Exactly.
If I understand correctly, yeah.
Cryonics, like time travel into the future, cryonics, perfect
like
cryonics.
More like temporal pausation, if that's the term. Yeah.
Gerald. Hey, Gerald.
Yep.
You probably talked about this. People bug you all the time, but I haven't really asked you or whatever. But anyway, your coils and stuff. Can you attest to the fact that there is like a matter repulsion effect? Like, yeah.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's actually there's a field propulsion effect that you can. What's the word I'm looking for?
Like it'll actually push away, matter, plastics, paper.
Well, I'll put it to you this way:
If force, essentially.
If you have it on and you walk too close, you feel it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot more to it than that. Don't get me wrong, but it has repulsion aspects. Sorry, Brendan?
I was wondering something. Since last APEC, we haven't gotten a chance to see it on here yet, and Jeremiah seems like he's kind of gone incognito mode. Do you think that, I mean, now or never, could you share any extra details about the thing, like wave shapes or frequencies or power levels or anything?
Well, frequencies actually, I've been they're actually kind of low. I use two separate frequencies. I use 7.83 hertz and 880 hertz. Sometimes I use 7.83 hertz and 261, depending on the effect that I'm going for. Like there's a stability that's involved. There's a couple of different factors, but like I said, I don't want to get too much into it because I want to explain everything that you guys saw and what I'm doing and the tech all at once. And you'll get it in a big package. It's just sad it wasn't on APEC, and that's my bad, and I apologize to the audience for that. And you
But you're
guys.
still gonna do it on my channel,
I'm
your
gonna
own
do it on
channel, and
Bernie's
hopefully
channel, and-
Tim's channel in the springtime.
And that's why I said it's all open source. Everything that, all the questions that everybody has about the video that's in question right now will all be answered. And I will make sure of it. And you can ask any question at that point and I will answer it in full detail.
Does this have anything to do with Jeremiah? I'm really concerned about him. He doesn't answer anything anymore. Like,
oh, he's doing his thing. He's heavy. He's deep in doing his work right now. Let's just say that. And
okay, so he's just
I've
chatting
had a
about
lot of private videos, discussions with him, and where he's showing me stuff that I'm not allowed to publish yet, but it will be coming forward in the future.
Yeah, that's why I say he's in deep right now. He's sort of like incognito, but not quite. I've talked to him multiple. I talked to him yesterday, actually. So yeah, he's doing okay. He's just he's really concentrating on everything. He's pushed everything out in the outside world for the moment, as far as I understand. So I can't speak for him, but yeah, he's doing okay.
I just wish he would have said something, you know, like, hey, I'm not going to be answering any messages. I don't hate you anymore. I'm not, you know, we're still friends, but like, so it's been a little hard to wrap my brain around. So I've, you know, because I consider him a close friend and he just shut me out totally. So I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, I can't speak for that, but at the same time, I know he's okay. He's really deep into it right now. Yeah, so.
Gerald, just one follow-up on what you were saying with the two different modes that you use. Can you identify what the low one does versus the high one? What having a high one does?
So there's energy aspects to the system, and then there's propulsion aspects to the system.
So like one is you get extra energy out of it when it's in one of those pairs,
Yeah,
and then you get propulsion when it's in the other pair.
Yeah, and grounding comes into play as well. And you could say ground pumping. That's probably not quite the right term. I'd have to look at my notes to actually go over exactly how I what's the word I'm looking for? Equated to that. So
do you know if is it emitting a RF signal downwards that gets reflected off of what's ever beneath it to create some kind of standing wave like La Violette describes?
Well, there's definitely an RF signal involved.
And that signal, Violette described it like a soliton, like a standing wave, and that the better your Q factor is, the more energy you're able to store in that standing wave beneath the craft.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when I do the demonstration, you'll understand, because it won't be just one aspect that I'm going to show. I'm going to show it all. I'm going to do the energy aspect of it. I'll show the video and the notes of the food growth that I'm working with. I'm working with mung beans, and they grow within 3 days, and they actually can grow in the dark. So it makes for an interesting experiment. And then go ahead.
The plant growth, I was really curious when you mentioned that you're using it for plant growth. Is that under the energy pair?
Under the energy? Yeah, actually, it's the lower one, 261 hertz. It loves that frequency for some reason. Now, I have to make this point though. It loves that frequency with that specific geometrical shape of that coil. If I was to change, if I was to change to a different coil, it would probably be a slightly different frequency. But the one that I'm experimenting with right now, 261 and 7.83 seems to, it just loves it.
When do you think you will upload another video demonstration of a levitation one?
Sorry about that. That will come with the big presentation I'm going to do on Bernie's channel.
So probably a month or so, because you're saying you're setting up.
Yeah, maybe a little less.
Couple months.
Yeah, see, I was looking forward to doing the APEC in February, but I'm gonna try and shave some time off that, see if I can do Bernie's at the end of the month, because there's a lot of questions that a lot of people would like answered.
You'll also, though,
Yeah.
we're going to be extending this in a stream as soon as APEC's over with yourself and Matthew Reif. I see
Yes.
Mike there from Faraday. Just wanted to show something or say something quick. And Jeremy
Come on.
Reese is back and wanting to maybe
Can you
shut
guys
it
hear
down.
me
All
or?
right, then I'll cut out and I'll let you guys talk. Sorry about that.
I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yep. This is the new carbon graphite battery I'm working on. I just got the new plates in from China. They're a square plate. They're about 10 millimeters thick, or sorry, 5 millimeters thick. I got one strip of magnesium strip on it. And it's giving me 1.6, 1.7 volts. See if I can turn my camera around here. Show you guys. If I can get it all in one shot here. So the magnesium strip is negative, and the positive is I use copper strip tape, and I'm getting 1.61. Sometimes a little higher. So I just added water to it. What's that?
Is that like a homemade battery?
Yep. Yep. I just got the carbon graphite plate. I put the copper tape on it as the anode, and the cathode is one strip of the magnesium, 99% magnesium, and a little bit of water on the paper towel that's in between. I'm getting 1.59. Sometimes it's a little higher. Touch it. When I first fired it up, I was getting 1.8 volts. So yeah, just a quick little demo.
Nice work.
So I got 5 plates total. So I'll be making 5 cells, and I'm going to put them in parallel, multiply the voltage, and I should be able to power something pretty good with it.
Not too bad at all, Mike. Not too bad at all.
Yeah, I'm finding that the older design, they wrap the magnesium strip all the way around the rods. I'm finding you just need just a little piece of it to get the same voltage. So I guess, wrapping the magnesium strip around it just adds life to the battery. Because if you see the other ones up here, these guys here, how I have it wrapped around, spiraled with about an 1/8 of an inch gap in between them. I made these 6 months ago. I fired them up a couple of days ago. They work perfect. So as soon as the water dries, they go dormant, and you just add a little bit of water to it, boom, they spring right back to life. So these have been sitting for 6 months. The magnesium's still in pretty decent shape. They're deteriorating a little bit, but I imagine I could get a good year's worth of basically shelf life, and it's very easy to rewrap them.
And Jeremiah had remade some of those, as well as I believe Michael Boyd had also made some of those original versions of those batteries.
Yeah. Yep. So I got a couple of guys working on them as well. They do work, and the one battery I made was pulling about almost a half an amp of current, average about 250 milliamps. If you do a dead short across the anode and cathode, I was averaging about 250 milliamps, 300 milliamps. That's one cell. So if you have a whole whack of them lined up, like a battery pack, you can power quite a bit. Just some of the devices I'm working on. Got the RPG working on that, made some huge grounds with that. Working on the new generation when I've bought a server case. It's a 6U server case, and I'll be making my industrial version of the motor. generator in that. And then I got a couple of leads that I should be able, I'm hoping in the next couple of months to get the system validated by a professor. So that would be good too.
So I believe Bernie is going to do a stream after this with he got Matthew Rife on a couple weeks days ago, and I think he's going to get Matthew Rife back on tonight. He's the
Yeah, Rife was on earlier, Jeremy, while you're driving to pick up your kids or whatnot there. He was part of APEC, but yes, he will be on the stream as well.
Okay, so I missed that, but he's definitely a family member of the original Royal Rife. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, he also has his original notes, from what I understand. He did back in, yes, the original handwritten notes.
So I'm really looking forward to that presentation, and I think we're everyone done here. Anyone want to add anything or throw anything out before we wrap it up?
I want to add one thing. Thank you so much for your work, Jeremy, from 2008 till now. I remember being on an interview with you and a nuclear physicist back in the day before, you know, your channel disappeared, and then back to now. Dude, amazing work. I gotta say, you deserve an applause by far, and I think everybody here should be giving you one. So thank you for that. That's all I wanted to say.
You're brilliant, buddy. You really are. You're amazing. Seriously.
Appreciate that, brothers.
Absolutely, Jeremy. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here, and a lot of us, pretty much all of us, wouldn't be here. So you are a major pillar in this community, brother.
Damn straight.
Yeah. It just took some crazy asshole like me to come out and show everyone that, hey, they're not going to kill you for this, and so that everyone else could be like, oh, look, they didn't kill him. We can come out and talk about this too now. So.
I think we all have to deal with.
You can call it bravery. I just call it stupidity. Whatever you want to call it. A little of both. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, I appreciate all the help and support I've gotten from everyone here over the years, and we can't be afraid, man, because this is the only way to save humanity. You know, we're stronger together, and there's the truth. A lie can be, a lie doesn't go anywhere. A lie, it's just lies versus the truth, man. It's so hard. It's like if you're selling a lie, everyone's lining up to buy it, but you can't possibly. It's harder. It's much harder to sell people the truth, and it's not an easy business to be in. And you do get wrong. Something's wrong some of the times, and it's.
The truth will set us all free, and the truth should always be free, right? And it's about bringing the science open source to everybody for us to all show our work and each other verify it and develop on it, essentially.
Yeah. Well, the more people that know, and the more people that are organized and talking about this and bringing disclosure forward, like real disclosure, going to, they just can't stop us now at this point. I'm just watching our numbers growing way larger. We're getting more views than their shows are getting on some of the things. And I do believe we're being suppressed on those numbers as well in some ways. I know that, YouTube still does a lot of interesting things with the algorithms to hide information. It's very difficult to locate stuff with search engines on YouTube when it comes to anything, useful or worthwhile. Seems to be just an entertainment site. But yeah, again, I'm glad. Thank you, YouTube, for giving me a platform anyway, and helping build the YouTube community back in the day, because I was pre the Google merger and all that stuff, man. It's crazy where it's gotten, and we just got to keep pushing. Just a little bit of effort every day, even if again 10 years ago to 10 years to now, I look at everything we've accomplished and I say, like, wow, we can really get a lot done in the next 5 to 10 years. And I think that a lot of these people are on the right track, with the physics, man. And it's only going to be a matter of time until one of us makes a breakthrough and shares it with the others, and then they can't shut it down. So
I think the breakthroughs have already been made. They're just not sensationalized. And because they're not sensationalized and hyped up, you know, it's not pumping the algorithm on YouTube, so millions of people aren't seeing it. Like I see when I see science videos and stuff, it's like PBS Space Time, and it's all these like you know, mainstream physics channels that it's the same.
I love
old
PBS
stuff
Space Time.
it's all the same stuff about general relativity and all this, right? So they're not going to see our, you know, our weird videos about our experiments. And
Yeah, they're not going to show against the mainstream stuff at all. If you don't feed their agenda, they're not going to show it.
There's a couple of those big channels though, with the big science channels, and I swear they have someone who watches or someone referred them to, because we mentioned something, and then, you know, Action Labs is doing a video on squeezed light, you know, and showing squeezed light and doing experiments with it, and he's like, oh, you know, like it's not a coincidence that some of these other big channels are starting to play around with some of the stuff that we're talking about. And I look forward to more of that in the future.
And what it is bringing together 1,000 different little breakthroughs that each of us are making and turning it into one giant macro breakthrough that will change it all.
The roots of grassroots.
Yeah, me personally, I'm not even scared of being captured by a UFO, because I'm not. I understand I understand everything they're doing, their technology. So if we might not have it yet, but I understand, like tractor beams and all the trees that.
That reminds me, I got to put a page on tractor beams and those links that Jack Sarfati mentioned, all that stuff. So I can come say hi. Come say hi.
I'm not worried about being captured.
Yeah, because I'm not scared. You know, some people panic, but I wouldn't be scared. I swear to God.
All right, I'm getting photo. I gotta go, guys. I'll see you guys over at Bernie's channel, and I'm gonna shut the stream down for tonight on my channel.
APEC is ending on the live on YouTube, and I guess if Tim wants to keep it going for a bit, or Mark or whatever, but we'll be starting up the YouTube live stream with Gerald and Matthew Rife and Mike Faraday, myself, and whoever else wants to join in about half hour's time here.
Awesome.
Love you all.
Sounds good.
Legendary.
Philip, I'll email you.
Hope it goes well. I'll try and find you.
Is it Philip or Philippe?
Yeah, that's why just call me Phil, man. Don't.
Okay.
When I used to live in San Diego, people would call me Felipe or Philippe or whatever. Just call me Phil.
I get it totally. I'll email you, Phil.
You're gonna stay live,
for
Bernie.
sure.
You're gonna stay live on Crypto Alchemist.
No, you can end all the Apex, and I'm gonna start a new video stream here in about half hour. I'll create the event right away, and I'll do that actually in the next 2 minutes and post the link in the Zoom before it ends. But you can end it on YouTube, Jeremy. Thank you.
Yeah, man, my kids are here, and they're all riled up and definitely not going to bed anytime soon. So I got to I'm gonna go and hang out with them and spend some time with the boys. And
where do you live, Jeremy?
I live in Rhode Island.
And prayers with
Colorado.
their mom's health recovering, Jeremy.
Yeah, yes, thank you on that. It was just the kid's mother was in the hospital over the holidays, and it was it's been I was absent for a couple of weeks there on YouTube and stuff, so I've been dealing with that. But she's home, still on medicine. But yeah, thank you for all this. And I'll see you guys. Are you going to be on Andreas's channel as well?
So yes, I'm gonna contract Andreas and make sure he's up, and should have him on because I think he was sleeping all day for this. But yes, we'll see you all soon. Happy New Year. Stay blessed. APEC 3-year reunion. It's going to be live on Alien Scientist.
Apex.
Yeah, let's start APEC 2.0 on
I
your
can just
channel.
I gotta go through and just make little short clips of all the best of APEC, because there's a ton of stuff there that just needs to be, that bears repeating, and
For
I
sure.
go back through and really do a best of thing and focus on all the experimental work in the next couple of months and getting some serious stuff out there and done and some stuff built, because I got a lot of ideas. I talked about that symbol. I want to take a symbol and coat it with the layers, and that way we can trap light inside the layers and also mechanically vibrate it at a resonant frequency. So I got a couple of different ideas and experiments I want to build, like similar things. I want to experiment with that shape, because maybe there is something to the flying saucer, but again, it not all UFOs are the same. And there's also the ball lightning effect, which is definitely related to UFOs.
Actually, Jeremy, I'm going to end it on our YouTube channels, but I'm going to keep it. I'm going to launch it. Oh, no, I can't put it on my Twitch because I'm on your account, not mine. Never mind. Scratch that. It's ending on YouTube, and we'll be doing a stream.
No, shoot an email, man.
It's Crypto Alchemist and Andreas Zertis with the X. So go check out those streams, and we'll see you guys over there.
Jeremy.
Yeah, everyone have a good night. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year, everyone. That's true, actually. Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year. APEC's been great by far.
It's the first one of the year. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last one.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
My kid came up to me and off camera, he's like, Dad, I got to tell you something. I got to tell you, I muted the mic and I said, what do you got to tell me? He said, I made the biggest mess ever. I'm like, oh.
Right on your bed.
I wish you guys could have heard it. I wish I didn't mute the mic, because it was just, oh God. It was
Neil deGrasse Tyson said that children are the opposite of order because they're sources of chaos. Say goodbye to order when you have kids.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
Well,
when I was a kid, my mom would tell me I would wait until my mom would not look, and then I would do something crazy behind her back, and then she turned. She would turn back and look at me, and then she was gotten mad at me. So I was kind of smart enough to time my own mom.
well, if you don't invite the happy chaos in your life, then the bad chaos will find you.
Very true. Very true.
Jeremy.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to kick some ideas around about that light stuff.
Yeah.
Because you're hitting on some things that have been really near and dear to me, like last night. So and I'm seeing interesting stuff. So where's a good place? You're busy with messages, and where's a good place to?
My email is probably good, thealienscientist@gmail.com, and
all right.
Well, sometimes my inbox gets filled up with stuff and I'll miss it. So if I don't respond, just resend it, or do a reply and bump it. So it'd be like, hey,
I just see on WhatsApp there, you're not too active on WhatsApp.
Yeah, I haven't been, man. It got kind of crowded on there, and it was just too much on my phone. There's a lot of pictures and videos being shared of just stuff, and it burned up.
It's mostly Phil doing that.
Yeah, there's a lot of data, so I had to get out of a couple groups and delete a bunch of files so I can have room on my. I have to do that anyway. I got to go through, and I want to transfer all my work photos to a tablet, so I can have all of it on a tablet instead. And I got a bunch of things I'm working on here for the new year, my business.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Jeremy, I saw there was one mistake in your presentation. I posted it on. There's a negative mass actually. They posted the link on the
Oh shit.
chat, but there's an, I can't post it again, but there's an electron on when superconductors, they have they can get a negative mass.
Oh shit.
Well, that goes to like this whole, what is mass and how do you produce mass? And then, yeah, that's some interesting stuff. Cause, and it's, I think that article, if I'm not mistaken, is it's polaritons that they're using, right? Or a polariton laser.
1 sec, I'll find it again.
Oh, look at, he's floating.
Yeah, I just posted it on the chat.
That's cool.
Woo!
Cool, man.
Yeah, digital magnetic levitation module is awesome. So cool to feel the force fields.
Yeah.
Has to be
Force field,
something related to this. There's superconducting electromagnet, maglev propulsion, centrifugal gravity, buoyancy, electrostatic magnetic gyroscopes, pulse centrifugal artificial gravity. Just something related. I don't know.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
Jeremy, in
This is called a power TRC maglev module.
Jeremy, it's Alex. There's a really cool Russian researcher called Viktor Grubenikov, and he was a biological researcher, and he literally discovered anti-gravity, which is a repulsive force.
Some of that about the cavity structural effect, yeah, because
Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool.
Yeah, the I should have put in a whole. I need to add a slide in about that because I've talked about that before about the insect chitin, and
yeah, exactly. Do you remember Keely net?
Layers of this mesh like cellulose like membrane and the distance and the spacing and the size of those layers determine all those permeability.
It's a resonant cavity, a radio frequency cavity at a certain pitch that negates gravity. It creates a repulsive force.
A layered metamaterial too. So
yeah, it's like a honeycomb structure, and it's at a certain pitch and wavelength that creates an electromagnetic bubble, which is resonant to gravity, the gravity field. It's at that terahertz. I can't remember exactly, but it's at that certain frequency spectrum, and it would just literally push away. And yeah, it's one of the simplest, most elegant technologies I've found. Actually, it's really lovely. It's a bit like pyramid technology. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, and it deals with like. It deals with surfaces, first off, and interfaces between materials. And it's also about the charge clusters as well.
Yeah.
Because there's an effect of the top of the scarab's wing, which actually it's like rubbing a silk rod, a glass rod with a silk cloth, you know, when that when those covers, the top covers of the wings separated, the top part becomes positively charged and then the wing is negatively charged. So it creates this,
do you remember a website called KeelyNet run by Jerry Decker? Did you ever see that one?
Oh, no, I don't think I know of that.
Oh,
Because he used to
huge
do
resource that one was, right?
he used to cover all these topics, but he died about 5 or 6 years ago. And
Yeah,
for about
that's the
20
one
years I followed his website.
Wow.
2600 free energy.
I'm trying to find a cached version of the whole website, but anyway, I'll leave you to it, buddy. I'll be quiet now.
No, it's good stuff. I there's a couple little things that I'd like to throw in there, but I don't know. I don't know. It's also I don't know. I like to keep it, you know, just the hardcore science too, like where.
Yeah, that's me. I like proper physics, but my maths is so weak at the moment. I haven't used it for a while that I just deal with high level concepts, and I can't remember basic maths.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
By the way, I here's a link to those who wants to learn general relativity, who has a undergraduate degree and wants to know the high level concept of it. It's brilliant.org. It's very good. It takes 30 seconds to register and explains everything pretty well. So
thank you, Philip. Thank you, buddy.
Sure.
Thank you, Philip, and thank you, Jared. Thanks, Wayne, and Mike as well. Oh, that Brian Kelly's out there too, man. Thank you, Harold. Oh, Harold, I know you're gonna be missed, and this whole conference is been the same without you. Harold's been almost. And then I'm Brian Feeney. I may be familiar with your name. The rest of you, I'm not so sure if I am familiar with them. Except Lulu, of course. What's going on, Lulu? I'll see you guys later. I'm gonna go hang out with my my kids.
For sure. Go play dad, brother. Thank you for all that you've done. Tim, are you still there? I've posted the YouTube video link here.
Take care, Jeremy.
For the next video, and
Nice meeting you, buddy.
the link to join.
Did you email me that link there, Bernard?
Gerald, I'll be sending it to you in about 2 minutes here with Mike as well, and anyone else that wants to join, email me and I will send you the link. And Rife will also be joining.
Sounds good. It was good being part of this. Everybody have a great year. If I don't see you on Bernie's channel or anywhere else.
Or your own. I also posted Gerald's link to his channel in the chat here for everybody. It's WPG Enlighten for Truth too. You just got to scroll up, but it is up there.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye, buddy.
Awesome. Take it easy, guys.
Take it easy. See you.
Peace.
Good night. Best regards, guys. Good night.
It was nice knowing everyone.
APEC, woo!
Good night, everyone.
Surprised they're shutting it down. That's too bad. Hopefully we'll have another one. See some cool people on there like Undefined Technologies and my boy Tom Valone and stuff. And hopefully some more developments. Take care, Tim. The legend. Yeah, next year on Olympus Mons. The heck is that? Oh, see. So are we going to Crypto Alchemist or what? Oh, you're going to be live? It's probably going to be Crypto Alchemist. Oh yeah, I knew it.
Yeah, I think you might. I could broadcast it on my channel as well, because we're me and Bert are buddied up on StreamYard. Should I?
Yeah. For sure.
For sure.
For sure.
Let me hit him up real quick. What is that? Apple? Do you know that Isaac Newton thought up the theory of gravity when he got hit in the head with an apple?
No. Let me see.
You want to see?
Yeah.
There's a picture of Newton under the tree.
Can do video of it. Do I have any video?
I don't know if there's a video of it, but there's lots of pictures of what it looked like. There he is. There's.
So
CI.
Right. And those other politicians, you know, they don't want to be voted out of office because they said something they were told not to, right? Because this is governed. Don't think for a minute that they're not shut down on saying these things. There's also private groups, and I think everyone in chat room knows this too. They're funded privately under different names that are really controlling the narrative with this and what they're feeding, you know, our senators and presidents, that kind of thing. So they're private groups. So until those particular groups are exposed, or maybe a SpaceX, you know, decides they're going to drop the bomb on this or they're going to expose this, I don't know what to make of it. They're certainly not going to want to talk about abductions because that is just wild, right? That's way too much for someone to accept, you know, on the surface, right? I mean, you're, oh my God, I'll do that for a minute. Yeah, you, me, you know, Tim, many of us in chat, we all know what's happening. We've experienced that. You know, what do we really know? The bottom line is to why, genetic, whatever. But we know that that's going on. But that to be accepted and put out in the news, my God, I don't know if that's ever going to happen, right? I mean, that's
well, it's just too much, because if that in fact happened, if our people finally realized that, what would they really do? There'd be so much insurrection. And yet it makes perfect sense, like you said, you know, and I kept alluding to the wisdom thing. Watch, you know, we humans, okay, we have satellites and probes going throughout our solar system. Absolutely. This is happening. Everybody knows about it. Okay, great. And you know what we do? We go to these other planets and we take—
I want to make a satellite constellation.
We take measurements and we take pictures. And I can guarantee you, if we found a three-headed elk running on the hills of Anus, we would come down in Black Hawk helicopters, we'd shoot it with a tranquilizer, we'd take a sample, we tag it to trace its migration, right? Because we do it. But guess what? That's because we're superior beings. See, the problem for us is that our egos can never believe that there'd be something above us. This is a problem. Doing the same thing for us.
Even in God, and God is, you know, certainly has a little bit of an edge on us, right? So we have no problem believing in Jesus Christ, you know, or some guy had powers in his dreadlocks and gave him the power and he could walk on water. We agree, we can accept that as a society, but we can't.
Well, we did for quite a long time. A lot of people are fighting that now because they want to be right.
Our advanced life form or something? I mean,
Thomas, I agree with you 100%. This subject is time. It is time.
It is time. Mm-hmm. It really is.
We agree with that.
That's one of the reasons. Especially seeing the documents that I saw too from '74. I mean, you know, I might show them on this show one day. I mean, it's unbelievable.
By the way, when I was 7, it was 1974, by the way.
And I gotta say this, that's one of the.
And you know, UFO man?
Experiencers support network online as a website, and we're under construction right now. We're working to provide counselors and group meetings and
I'm watching UFO man, by the way, Lulu.
Information about experiencing the events that people are experiencing.
Are you guys doing okay?
Yeah, what's up, man?
And
oh, not a whole lot.
Why it was switched.
I'm just watching UFO man now. They're interviewing John Yost. He's some producer or something for some movie or something.
For all these people out there.
Have we pretty much wrapped up the conference? Maybe we should shut things down for the evening then.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Trying to do that.
Yeah, I guess we can call it.
Okay, well, let's call it. Everyone, I am Tim Ventura. This has been APEC. Thank you to everyone who has been with us and to everyone who wasn't able to be here with us tonight. Good night, everyone.